Hello, my name is Cynthia, and my inquiry project is focused on bi-minority architecture with an element of photography included. First, I would like to give you an introduction of Microcampus and the inquiry project. Microcampus is a program during which students from Shanghai American School have the opportunity to go live and learn in a village named Xizhou, located in Yunnan Province in southwest China. They stay there for 28 days, which is a month. In our case, there were 14 students who went between November 22nd and December 19th of 2014. We are named the Jailbreak Group, and the picture to the right is our group photo. Before our departure to Microcampus, we selected a topic that was of high personal interest to ourselves that we would be studying during our time in Xizhou that required research and local expertise to complete. This is called an inquiry project. My topic is to study bi-minority architecture with a bit of a photography element included. The reason I chose this topic was because I have always been interested in art, design, and learning about new cultures, and architecture has all three of these aspects involved. Also, I've always enjoyed digital arts, which is things like digital painting, photography, or photo editing, so I combined the topics of architecture and photography together to make my inquiry project. My thesis statement is, to understand bi-minority architecture, one must consider building features, construction processes, and change over time. Photography can be relevant to all of those. Now on to my inquiry project. I will start with building features. First, I will talk about supporting structures. There is a very clear horizontal and vertical structure about the buildings here. All of the framing is made in the structure, made of wood. The walls here in older buildings are made of mud and/or wood and are generally pretty thick. Newer buildings use cement more. The roofs here are always topped with tiles, have tilted eaves and carvings at the ends of the tiles. The picture to the right is a photo of a wooden wall in which you can tell the wooden horizontal and vertical structures. In general, bi-minority houses tend to use a formation of a large center courtyard and four sides forming a square. There are four main formations. First and most common is the 三坊一照壁 formation, which means three sides of rooms and one screen wall. The west side is the main rooms, and the north and south are the side rooms, and the screen wall faces the east. A less used style is 六合同春, which has rooms facing six sides. The fourth is 走马转角楼, which is a feature that is commonly used in homes. This connects all the corridors and makes it very easy to get from one courtyard to the next. Another common formation is the 四合五天井 formation, which means four sides of rooms and five open yards. There is an open area at each corner plus the central courtyard, making five. This is one of the many courtyards of the Yan compound in Xizhou. This is a photo of Yangzhouran, which is where we live, showing the connecting corridors. Doors and windows are important in bi-architecture, often made with wood with many carvings. Furniture is important as well, although if not used for practical purposes, are mostly used for decoration. Painted panels are a main form of decoration as well, painted on the outside walls depicting nature most of the time. The entryways are either flat on the top or have eaves, which can be one eave or three eaves, and can either curve into the courtyard or lead straight in. The screen wall of the 三坊一照壁 formation is made to reflect sunlight into the courtyard to keep the courtyard and the surrounding area warm, and usually has four characters on, representing a family value or motto. The photo is a picture of doors between rooms in the Yan family compound. Now we will talk about construction methods. There are 6 main steps to building a building here in Xizhou, which I will go through one by one. This is the first step, which is to build the pillars. You start with the bottom parts, which are made of stone or marble, and then you add the long wooden sections, which go through the entire building. To the right is a photo of the pillars here at Yangzhouran. After the large pillars are built, the frames are built. Once again, they are horizontal and vertical, extending through the entire building. I've heard 3 main reasons on why wood is used. First of all, it has the ability to keep things warmer in the winter, as it can absorb heat from the sunlight during the day. Second, it is always expanding and contracting, and there is always space between each plank of wood. This is good because it allows for movement during earthquakes, which can strengthen the building in case an earthquake was to happen. If you use cement for the walls like people sometimes do nowadays, the walls would crack pretty easily during an earthquake. Third, Xizhou is located close to the Tangshan Mountains, which means wood is not very difficult to obtain. Walls in Xizhou have a mud structure. People would take 2 wooden boards, put the mud between the 2 boards, and pound at it with a thick stick until it was compressed enough, then repeat the process. When the ideal height was reached, the boards would be removed and a wall would be left. They would top off the wall with mud bricks, which were molded in rectangular wooden boxes to create the shape. Then people would paint over it or cover it with plaster, sometimes mixing in some dried grasses for strength. The picture to the right shows one of the plastered dried grass walls. Roofs were also built in the horizontal vertical framing style. After the roofs were framed, people would cover it with wooden planks and then top it off with tiles. The eaves, which are the top and sides of the roof, are tilted upwards. There are carvings at the end of the roof tiles. This picture shows the wooden planks, the framing, and the end carvings. This picture shows the roof tiles and the tilted eaves. The fifth main step is to complete the other features, such as doors, windows, and floors. This is the part of the process that uses up the most wood supply and the most carvings, since most of the wood carvings in an entire building is located on doors and windows. Floors will use many thick, straight, flat planks lined up one by one against each other. This picture is a photo of right in front room 9 at Yangzhouran, and you can see the wooden planks on the floor. This is a photo of a corridor at Yangzhouran showing the geometric shapes and lines. There are three main forms of decoration in bi-minority architecture: sculpting of wood, furniture, and painted panels. Carvings are usually lines, geometric patterns, or nature-related subjects. One way of using furniture as decoration is putting up a large high table, a smaller lower table in front of it, and two chairs at each side. The wood would be carved in pretty good quality. Painted panels are done on the top of the exterior walls under the roofs. They usually depict nature. Some typical themes include mountain water scenery, plants and animals. Animals and plants are often combined into several different combinations. Some common combinations include pine and crane, phoenix and peony, and magpie and plumflower. This is a photo of the painted panels at the Yan compound, and this is a picture of the furniture at Yan compound made of wood and marble. Now I will talk about how bi-minority architecture has changed over time. Older materials are more simple. They include mud, wood, stone, and marble. Newer materials use things more like cement, concrete, steel, glass, and bricks. Wood is still used, but not as much as it used to be. This is because there are less and less amounts of wood in the mountains as they get used up, making the prices more and more expensive, which causes people not being able to buy them as much as they wanted to. Construction methods have changed a lot through time as well, and this is mainly caused by the changing of materials. Different materials require a different strategy for building. The buildings in Xizhou used to be all completely built by hand. However, as technology advanced, more and more people are using machines because it required less physical strength and less time. This is good in some ways, but the traditional strategies are being lost. Buildings in Xizhou before would never have written down drawn-out designs, but now blueprints are used more and more. As the materials and construction methods change, this changes the structures a lot. Walls, which are the main supporting structure in a building, used to be made of mud with wooden framing. Now it's cement with steel framing. Cement will crack very easily, which makes the walls weaker. The appearances have not changed very much from the outside. From the outside, the buildings look pretty much the same, other than the fact that one may simply look older or newer than another. However, the meaning in the old buildings is entirely gone in the newer buildings. Several of the paintings that used to have many different meanings in older buildings are now simply just used for decoration. This is largely related to tourism and urbanization. Tourists want newer, prettier buildings to live in, so the older buildings are either being renovated or torn down for newer buildings to be built. What hasn't really changed at all is the roofs. The government requires that the roofs stay the same, and they are still built the same way with tiles to this day. Now we will move on to the conclusion. Throughout my work, I have definitely learned a lot more about bi-minority architecture and photography. However, I have learned more than that. First of all, I have learned the large impact that urbanization and commercialization can have on a place. I have learned how important creativity is, not just in architecture, but in life. I have learned the importance of making connections and maintaining and strengthening those connections with the locals of Xizhou, with my teachers, and with my peers. I have learned about self-discipline and habits, to discipline yourself so others don't have to, and that excellence is not an act but a habit. I've learned that getting out of the bubble, getting outside of the comfort zone, is a hard thing to do, but it's something one really needs to do in order to accomplish more. I've been able to see the real China, outside of the city's lights and rushing people. There are many people I must thank for helping me during my time in Xizhou. I thank my family for funding this trip and supporting me throughout this process. I thank Mr. T and Miss Mai for their continued help and support through all the ups and downs of this one-month journey, and for giving us this amazing opportunity. Thank you to my peers, the rest of the Jailbreak group, for being there with me and helping me for the month. I would like to thank Mr. and Mrs. Linden and the Linden Center for helping us with our research and giving us such a wonderful place to call home for a month. I thank the people of Xizhou for being so warm, welcoming, and willing to help us and talk to us. Last but not least, I thank the following people for being great helpful resources for my project, whom I will acknowledge by name. Mr. He and Mr. Zhao, the two security guards at Yangzhouran. Mr. Zhang from the Yan compound. Mr. Yang guarded the Linden Center, Ah Biao, an architect and renovator, Mr. Yang, the owner of an antique store, and Mr. Linden. This is the end of my presentation. I now ask you, what more would you like to find out? If you are curious, I do encourage you to look more into the subject, whether that is by simply looking online or even coming to the village of Shizhou yourself. Thank you for watching and listening. Hope you enjoyed and were able to learn something.